Call the member for Bowman.
Look, thank you, Deputy Speaker. Look, acknowledging the incredible passion around this topic, a topic that for 11 years has galvanised Australia like no other OECD economy, the debate between environment and energy. But we are slowly getting to a point where the experts have come together to design a structure that looks after three mutually exclusive fields in, obviously, affordability, responsibility and reliability. Now, you can toss a dime, it's not going to land on an area that's going to cover those three areas adequately. And I guess our great concern is that the Labor Party until now, and their 6 years in government, they simply watched energy prices double. Federal and state continue at Labor Party level, continue to exacerbate the situation with their job-destroying bans and moratoria on exploration, their unrealistic renewable energy targets, which at this point cannot be met in a way that allows pensioners to pay their power bills, and they're just open hostility to dispatchable, firmable, reliable baseload power, and this is a real fatwa against these areas of power policy. Look, the Turnbull Government just takes another approach to this, and we are taking action to fix this mess, make sure people can afford their power bills. Focus on just keeping the lights on before we start worrying about renewable targets for 10 and 20 years in advance, when I'm sure we'll be apologising for the actions of Labor governments right now. The National Energy Guarantee cuts electricity prices, ends subsidies, ends the picking of winners, passing on of these costs directly to consumers, and we now are endeavouring to create that level playing field, an agnostic energy source approach that means more supply and ultimately lower prices. It's about having all forms of energy competing equally in Australia's energy mix. And that $300 a year that we are reliably informed can be saved, an average of $550 a year deep into the 2020s under the NEG, makes a real difference for families. We're requiring power companies to cut better deals, to inform customers of the better arrangement, to secure gas supplies for Australia rather than exporting it overseas, and putting downward pressure on network costs, something to which this Labor alternative just has some scotoma, which they're impossible to address. Now, our actions are already a blind spot. Our actions are already having some impact. Wholesale prices are already down thanks to gas availability by about 25%. My state of Queensland, an 8.5% drop in small business power prices and around 5.4% for households. And Labor's alternative has primarily been one of blackouts and higher energy prices, which they get away with by offering small payouts to pensioners to keep them on side. And when Labor was last in office, we know these prices doubled, and then we have a leader of the Labor Party with a 50% renewable energy target with no idea how we'll get there, no idea what the price will be paid by pensioners, and we're just going to put pensioners first. We're going to put low-income households first. This new tax on electricity, the CIS, means that if Labor's back in office, power bills could be $500 a year higher than they otherwise need to be. That's way too much of a burden on Australian shoulders. Let's not make sure that we go beyond the rest of the world. Let's do our shoulder to the wheel, our part, and allow others to do the same before reckless policies harm jobs, because once you lose a local job, it often doesn't come back. This guarantee has been backed by the Expert Energy Security Board. It's made of these two obligations. And first of all, the thing you never hear Labor say, that is the reliability obligation. It's set to deliver the right level of dispatchable energy from ready-to-use sources. That might be coal or gas or hydro, whatever, but it's got to be there in the thousands of megawatts to make sure that when wind and solar enters irregularly into the grid, that we can cope for it. And this makes retailers responsible to have that base load available. Otherwise, they can pay large penalties for failing to do so. And the price fall is the result. People say, how can a NEG reduce prices? Well, it does so by reducing those spikes where power is inordinately expensive for very short periods of time. So it just allows Australians to have more money in their pockets. That's where they want the money. They don't want it going to energy retailers. I mean, memo to Labor, we don't enjoy paying higher power bills where we don't have to. When it comes to reliability, no longer should intermittent sources like wind and solar be surging into our grid, causing the risks of brownout and the inability to have base load to go with it. I just want to thank a number of these groups that have got behind the NEG, the BCA, ACCI, AIG, Manufacturers Australia, all of the energy users, BHP, BlueScope, Rio, Santos, JBS, Origin, AGL, Energy Australia, Energy Networks, all of the irrigators, the grocers and the mineral councils, all of those groups, the forestry products producers, infrastructure partnerships, the Grattan and energy consumers, they're all lined up against the Labor Party. They have this party in the crosshairs. Stand up for reliability and affordability and support the NEG.